In a world as desolate and corrupt as Fallout, with crazed Roman lunatics, to cybernetically immortal autocrats, to groups that replace humans with machines, and those that just sell people, the Followers of the Apocalypse are the only genuinely good organization that we've actually seen in the Wasteland. They don't care for territory or money, but collect pre-war knowledge and technology solely for the betterment of humanity in the Wasteland. Man, woman, child, ghoul, super mutant, or anything in between, everyone's welcome to their help. So how did a group with no army, no borders, and no interest in power become the moral backbone of the East? Well, that's what we aim to tackle today. This is the history of the Followers of the Apocalypse. The story of the Followers of the Apocalypse starts in the outskirts of Dayglow, what used to be San Diego before the bombs fell. A settlement had formed there made up of former vault dwellers and survivors who gathered near a highly irradiated location known as the Glow. And their proximity proved to be deadly. Sickness spread throughout the settlement, with people dying by the day. The survivors realized that they couldn't stay. They needed to move north away from the radiation. So they gathered what they could and began the journey to the Boneyard, the ruins of Los Angeles. Among them was a woman named Nicole, and during this journey to the north, raiders attacked the group. Nicole's parents were killed, and standing over their bodies, watching more senseless violence in a world that had already destroyed itself once, Nicole made a decision.
It was time the killing stopped.
When the survivors finally reached the Boneyard, Nicole founded the Followers of the Apocalypse, and her vision was simple.
It's our goal to make this land the way it used to be, before the war.
In 2161, the Followers established their headquarters in the Los Angeles Public Library, and while other factions hoarded technology or built armies, the Followers opened the library doors to anyone who wanted to learn. Free education and free medical care. No payment required, no questions about who you are or where you came from. They taught people how to farm using crop rotations, they trained doctors and nurses, and they preserved the knowledge of the Great War, teaching people about the horrors humanity had inflicted upon itself, hoping that understanding the past would prevent its repetition. The Followers weren't naive about the dangers around them. In 2161, they recognized the Children of the Cathedral, a seemingly benign religious organization, was actually a front for something much more sinister, of course that being the Master's Unity, a plan to convert humanity into supermutants. Nicole placed a spy named Laura inside the cathedral. As Nicole would later explain,
Laura is one of our insiders within the cathedral. She's extremely loyal to our cause.
When the Vault Dweller arrived in Boneyard, the Followers assisted them in confronting the Master, and in 2161, when the Unity was destroyed, the Followers found themselves in control of the Boneyard. And with this, they partnered with the newly emerging government forming in the region, the New California Republic. And when the NCR was officially founded in 2189, with Shady Sands as its capital, the Followers became the NCR's technical advisors, researchers, and educators. This was the Golden Age. They established Angel's Boneyard Medical University, the first known university in the post-war wasteland. It offered courses on a non-profit basis, open to anyone willing to learn. You didn't even need to join the Followers to study there. They also sent scholars on expeditions to distant locations, even as far as Wyoming, to study tribal dialects and gather knowledge. By 2280, the Followers had outposts in every major NCR territory. They were succeeding in their mission by spreading knowledge, healing the sick, and teaching people to build a better world. But two catastrophic events would shatter this partnership and change the Followers forever. In 2226, a boy named Edward Sallow was born near the Boneyard. When he was just 2 years old, raiders killed his father. His mother, desperate and alone, sought protection from the Followers. They took her in, giving her work at the library, cooking and cleaning, and gave Edward a free education. Edward was a brilliant student. He became an anthropologist and linguist, but he was also narcissistic and bad-tempered. More troubling, however, he found the Followers too stifling and their mission too naive. He didn't share their ideals, but he did use their resources. In 2246, when Edward was 20 years old, the Followers sent him east to the Grand Canyon with 8 others. Their mission was a peaceful one, to study and learn the dialects of the Arizona tribe. The expedition included Bill Calhoun, a physician, 7 other unnamed followers, and their guide, Joshua Graham, a Mormon missionary who knew the tribal territories. And during the journey, Edward discovered something that would change the Wasteland history. A cache of books about ancient Rome. He read the history of the decline and the fall of the Roman Empire, and Caesar's own commentary on the Gallic Wars. And with this, he became obsessed. The expedition was captured by the Blackfoot tribe, who were at war with 7 other tribes and badly outnumbered. Edward's companions wanted to negotiate peaceful release, but it was here that he saw an opportunity. Against the wishes of every other member of the expedition, Edward taught the Blackfoot how to wage war, gun maintenance, small unit tactics, how to manufacture explosives, military strategy, and divide and conquer techniques. The Blackfoot slaughtered their enemies, and they made Edward their leader. It was from here that he took on the name Caesar, or Caesar, and in 2247, Caesar's legion was born. Edward Sallow ordered 6 members of his own expedition murdered. Bill Calhoun was sent back to the followers to deliver the news, and Joshua Graham became the Malpais legate, Caesar's military commander. This remains the deepest shame in the followers' history, with members rarely discussing it. Caesar does hold some respect for the education of the followers, however, but cares nothing for their ideals. By 2250, Caesar's legion was fully established, conquering tribe after tribe, and building an empire on slavery and brutality. A group with ideals that opposed the followers in every way had been created by one of their own. In 2273, a follower named Julie Farkas led a contingent east to the Mojave. Initially, they went to assist NCR forces, and upon arriving, established themselves in the Old Mormon Fort in Freeside, just outside of the New Vegas Strip. As Julie would explain,
"The Old Mormon Fort serves as the regional hub for the followers of the apocalypse. I am the administrator for this region."
But Freeside was nothing like the Boneyard. Mr. House had locked the local population out of New Vegas, creating a massive impoverished population living in the ruins around his pristine city. And the NCR had no interest in helping these people, so the followers did. Julie described their mission clearly.
"The followers of the apocalypse aren't just interested in research. We care for our fellow man and do everything we can to help humanity. Here in Freeside, we provide food and medical services for those in need. We also have organized reconstruction efforts."
They formed a positive relation with the Kings, the gang that controlled Freeside. As Julie explained,
"They've done a lot of good for the community, but that seems to be changing. The flood of NCR squatters has been an affront to them."
the followers also tried to help the Great Khans. They taught the Khans chemistry and medicine making, hoping the tribe would put these skills to good use. Instead, desperate circumstances led the Khans to create a drug operation. The followers cut ties, though that relationship could be rekindled depending on the courier's decisions if the Khans moved to Wyoming. By 2281, the Mojave chapter was in crisis. When asked about their supply situation, Julie's pretty blunt.
"Rates of injury and illness in Freeside are very high. Supplies don't last long."
The scale of their challenges was overwhelming. The second catastrophe came from the NCR itself. During the 2270s, Aaron Kimball became the president and enacted the pacification of the Mojave, an aggressive expansionist policy, with the first act being the occupation of Hoover Dam in 2273. This act would chill relations with the followers, and the NCR would become increasingly militaristic. They wanted to rebuild the old world, but the followers wanted to build something better, something that wouldn't destroy itself again. Internal tensions grew, some followers becoming dissatisfied with the organization's knowledge-centric focus. They wanted to work with the NCR's new direction and not against it, and in 2275, the split happened. The dissenting followers broke away and founded the Office of Science and Industry, the OSI, which would become the NCR's official research and development agency, focused on practical applications rather than research for research's sake. And it was with this that the NCR withdrew official support from the followers. A partnership that had lasted nearly a century was over. The followers continued their humanitarian work independently, but without NCR backing, resources became scarce. Some followers began a smear campaign against the NCR among frontier communities, and while relations remained civil, official ties between the two groups were severed. So what is the legacy of the followers of the apocalypse? In a world defined by those who seize power, be it through force, technology, or economic power, the followers wield none of it. Perpetually undersupplied and overwhelmed by the sheer scale of suffering in the Wasteland. Yet their influence is immeasurable. They are the quiet keepers of the flame. Every doctor they train, every farmer they teach, every child they educate, becomes a seed for a better future. They are living proof that humanity's best traits survived nuclear warfare, survived a nuclear apocalypse. In the end, the followers represent a simple, radical choice: to heal rather than to conquer, to teach rather than command, never wavering from their ideals, and more importantly, never losing hope. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, just thank you for watching.